Are you in your 20s? You're a girly who is going through it, learning how to become an adult, and figuring out who you are as your own individual person in this world that is really chaotic at this moment. Are you struggling to find your footing? Do you feel like you're missing out on all the fun that some people have traveling the world? And then you're also falling behind on creating a career that will sustain you the rest of your life. Are you confused on your path? You don't really know where you're going. Or maybe you have no clue what your next step is. Then this episode is for you. This episode is all about a guide on how to become an adult in the most fun, expansive, joyous way. Welcome to Just Being Me. This is your sanctuary for all things real, magical, and unapologetically you. Here, we weave together the threads of balanced living, self love, and creative expression. Because stepping into who you're meant to be is equal parts exhilarating and messy, and it's all part of the plot. I am your host, Emma Garter, and I'm a self expression coach and creatrix. Each week, we'll dive into heart centered conversations, playful explorations, and a little bit of everyday enchantment. Whether you're figuring out life's big questions, manifesting your dream reality, or simply learning to know, trust, and love yourself, this is your space to create a life that feels so desirable that you would never want to escape it. So, let's skip the small talk and dive into the deep end. Your story starts here, and the pen is in your hand. Now, let's get into the episode. Welcome back to Just Being Me. If you are a recurring listener, I love you so much for being here again and again and again. And if you're new, welcome. I'm Emma, and I'm here to hold space for you through your growth and for you to really just step into your fullest expression. We all have been there. If you're 18 or if you're in high school, you might not be there yet. But if you're in your 20s or even older, you know that this transition between being a youth, being still a child and living at your parents, or maybe you've just moved out and then now you're like, shit, I have to pay taxes. I have to figure out what I want to do with my life. Do I want to travel the world first, or do I want to go straight into college and then get a job and then get married and get kids? Or maybe you want to take a completely alternative route and do nothing like your parents did. That's me. That's definitely me in some ways. But I want to just share a little background about how I have got to where I am today, and I still haven't figured it all out. I am still working through shit. I'm still on the path. I'm 24, and it's a journey. It's definitely a journey. So I started college right after high school. I was studying fashion design in New York, and I went straight into like, we need to make a career happen. I was going to become a fashion designer, have my own brand, and I had my whole path figured out. I knew exactly where I was heading, I knew exactly what I was doing. And then the pandemic hit, and I was sexually violated, and my mental health, not during the pandemic, but a few years after. And then my mental health just plummeted. And I wasn't capable of living in New York at that time. And I'm also a projector, and if you know anything about human design, you know that projectors are very sensitive beings. And it was really hard because I didn't understand why I didn't have any energy, that I was just so behind on everything and I was numbing out. I wasn't fully here. I was constantly needing something to plug my mind with something else than what was actually happening in front of me. So, fast forward to now, I am a coach. I am currently with a part time job. I live with my boyfriend and we travel the world. And I have my own business, like I said, with the coaching. And I'm also taking a step back from that in order to really figure out where I want to go with my life and truly learning to enjoy this very moment. So, the things that I've been learning, the things that I have figured out thus far on my journey is what I'm going to share with you today. So I have put together 6 things that has really helped me to create some more ease and making this journey of becoming an adult more fun and expansive and not as scary, because I think it can be really scary for people when they're figuring out their next part of their journey. And yeah, so let's just get into it. I there This is in no particular order, so I just have a few little points on what I want to share, and I have it on my computer down here if you're wondering why I'm looking down. Okay, so the first thing is to learn about yourself. Get really curious about who you really are, because society and our community where we grew up has conditioned us to becoming a certain kind of way. And it's not our parents' fault. It's literally what just have been happening in generations upon generations. We have our certain mindset and a certain belief system based on what people around us believed and thought was the truth. So, getting really curious about who we truly are without this conditioning and peeling off the layers, really figuring out who we are as our own individual self. We're not kids anymore. We're not this little child that other people have their say of what is happening with this kid. Like when we were younger, we had to survive, and what we thought was surviving was making sure that people loved us. Like we crave love. That's a human conditioning. Like we are so needed to feel safe and accepted, because if you think about in the caveman days, if you weren't accepted by the tribe, if you got left by the tribe, you would die. And that's literally how our fight or flight response works. We want to feel like we are belonging to our tribe. And if we are super different, if we make mistakes, quote unquote mistakes, and make people upset, we feel like we're going to lose our tribe. So we don't have to live like that anymore. We don't have to conform to what everyone else around us really thinks of us and how we should operate. So the first thing is to really learn how you want to live your life. Like what is actually true to you at your core. And this can happen through asking yourself questions. Getting really curious, like what is my favorite pastime? What did I love doing as a kid? What can I really see myself doing growing up? What brings me the most amount of joy? What is really important to me? What are my actual values? Not thinking about my past, but like, what do I value now? Maybe some of the things that you believe are not actually what you desire to believe. So, working with that and starting to even like rewire your subconscious beliefs, rewiring the things that you have thought up until now that you don't actually agree with. And there's a lot of ways to do this. But starting with like getting really raw and honest and having the awareness. The awareness is step number 1. If you have awareness around, "Oh, I believe that actually I can't be successful because being successful means that if I make a mistake, people will hate me and I will lose everyone that I love." Working on releasing these things that are holding you back from living as your true, authentic self. The next thing that I want to talk about is become best friends with your money. And I think for a lot of people, we are so scared of handling money, or we have all these beliefs around money, especially when it comes to taxes. I know so many people are so scared of getting or looking at their taxes or doing their taxes because it feels so foreign. So learning to, because money is a part of growing, money is a part of being an adult. We have bills to pay, we have things that we want to do, we want to save, we want to invest. Like just getting so familiar with money and learning how to work with it instead of being afraid of it. That was a quick and easy one, but I truly believe that if more people got really comfortable being around money, talking about money, we would have so many less problems when it comes to money. And I think a lot of people would earn a lot more money as well. And figuring out like how much do you really want to earn, and being open to not having the safe 9 to 5 job in order to actually receive money, because money is literally just an energy. It's a neutral energy, and what we bring to the table when it comes to money is the energy the money is going to be in. So it's the person that holds the money that affects the energy, and if it's a good thing or a bad thing. So that's why a lot of millionaires, they have a really, or not everyone, but a lot of millionaires have a belief that money is easy to make. Money comes so easily, and that's why maybe like a lot of lotto millionaires or people that win the lottery lose their money because they don't actually feel safe with having so much money. So there's so much that comes with money, and it's for us to really just get more comfortable with, become best friends with it. Look at it as like one of your best friends that you get to have chats with. And one of the things that I love to do is having money dates, looking at what comes into your bank account, what goes out of your bank account, really looking at your student loans, how much do you have left, starting to look at it and become more comfortable with being around it and holding it. The next thing that I want to talk about is don't rush yourself into setting yourself up into one path. Try things on and move towards your joy. I think a lot of people feel so like they feel like they have to figure out their whole life path right away when they're 19, when they get out of high school at 18, 17, even in the United States. But like, why? Why do we need to have our whole life figured out? And most likely, we're not going to even have our whole life figured out because life is unpredictable. We have no idea what's going to happen. And why are we so concerned about settling into this one linear path? And for some people, that might work. For you, maybe that's the right choice. And maybe you've really thought about it and you're doing something that really lights you up. But then also being like, that changes. That changes throughout your life, and you don't have to have everything figured out right now. Also, ask yourself, who are you doing this for? Who are you going to college for and studying business or economics or becoming a doctor for? Who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for yourself? Is this your dream or is this someone else's dream? Because I think this can be so crucial in your step towards actually living your truth. I know for me, I loved doing fashion, but I don't really think that that was the path that I was supposed to go on. Yes, ended up being my path and I'm so glad that I did. But looking back on it now, like I don't think I should have gone to college right away. I think I should have worked and traveled and explored and figured out what I actually wanted to do with my life. But I felt so like pushed to go to college, and fashion was the only thing that I really loved doing. But after going to college for fashion design for 3 years and going through all the stuff that I talked about in the beginning of this podcast, I've just lost the spark and the joy for creating clothes. And that was like my biggest joy back in the day. So I think being really curious and not feeling like you need to know straight out of college what school you're going to go to, what program you're going to go to. Maybe take a few years to explore. My sister, she took a few years, like 2 years to explore, and then she went to college in Amsterdam, and then she decided that this was not for me. She had her spiritual awakening and now she's like traveling all over Asia, and she's going to do her yoga teacher training in Nepal where we went on a trip in 2016, and just like exploring and figuring out. And it's going to be uncertain. It's going to be uncomfortable because you're not certain what is the next step. And that is the next thing that I'm going to talk about. Lean into the discomfort. Get really comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's where you're going to grow. That's where you're going to figure out where your path is going to take you, is to leap into the unknown. And if jumping into something and maybe like getting selling your apartment and moving to Thailand is not the the right what's it called? The right decision for you because your nervous system can't handle it. That's okay. And maybe for you it's like taking that next step, maybe starting to looking for new jobs, maybe even saving up for you to be able to have enough money to travel and to not work in your corporate job anymore, or maybe taking a year after college and being like, I don't really know if I want to go into this line of work, but I'm going to travel the world and maybe do some other things, maybe have a part-time job and just have fun on the side. Like, you get to decide and you get to move towards the thing that feels uncomfortable, because that is when you're going to actually see yourself evolve. And a really big thing about moving into discomfort is also to work on your nervous system and to make sure that you're grounded through the changes that you're going through. And some of the best ways to do this is to go into nature, to do breath work, to touch, like get into your body, self pleasuring, and really just having solid people around you, becoming more and more solid within yourself, all of these things. So, what are you waiting for? What are you holding yourself back from being in the discomfort of maybe not going to college the first year you get out of high school? Maybe taking that break and not knowing what is going to happen. But that's the beauty of it too, and you're going to get so surprised by what is actually around you and what you'll actually find. The fifth tip that I want to share with you is to have fun. Don't take life too seriously. We're only here one time. And yes, I believe in reincarnation, but you're not never going to be you again. You're never going to be exactly this person that's sitting within you. And you get to do the things that light you up, that light you up. That doesn't that doesn't make other people happy, but doing the things that you love, that you find are so incredible. And this might mean that you will lose some people on the way. I know for me, when I stopped drinking alcohol, I I don't have contact with my old high school friends because I don't know, it just doesn't feel aligned anymore. And we don't really have that much in common because I usually hung out with them when we're going to parties or going to a bar or drinking. So you might find that you will start shedding people in your life because of the changes that you make. But that's okay. That's okay. We're not going to be around the same people for the rest of our life if we keep growing because we will evolve, and you might be different and still love to hang out together, and that's great. But a lot of the times you will outgrow people, especially if you're on this healing journey. And the last thing that I want to talk about is to get really good at being alone. Get so good at being alone, because the only person that we are going to have with us for the rest of our life is ourselves. And for you to be able to take really aligned actions and make decisions that are based on what you actually think and what you feel is right for you, we need to be in more solitude. We need to focus and go within and not be affected by other people's opinion that are around us. So really learning how to be alone, and this is going to help you too in relationships and really feeling like you're good within yourself. Like, you don't need anyone else. Having people around you that love you for who you are is just a bonus, but you're so confident within yourself that no matter what happens, you know that you have your own back. So that was the last thing that I wanted to talk about. If you have any other suggestions on what can actually help you when you're growing up and when you're becoming an adult, stepping into your adult self, let me know. Leave a comment down below. And I would love to hear what you thought. Maybe send this to a friend that you both are going through a lot of big changes in your life, and you just need that extra little boost, knowing that like whatever you're going through is so valid. We are all on our own paths, and it can be really tough sometimes. So having a lot of compassion for yourself, knowing that like no matter what happens, you get to move through it and you get to hold space for it. And yeah, I would love it if you subscribed to the podcast, gave it a follow. It means the world to me. And it also helps me get out to even more people. And I believe that this message, especially this message, needs to be heard by a lot of people, because becoming an adult can be intimidating and can be scary and just weird and uncomfortable, but we all go through it, and we get to make it more fun, more enjoyable, and just filled with love. I am sending you so much love. Like I said, I hope you enjoy this episode. Let me know too if there's something else that you want me to talk about. I want to be here for you, guide you, and hold space for you in your growth. I hope to see you in my next episode. I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.